everybody, this is Audrey, also known as Noble Strength, and welcome back to my channel. And I'm doing something a little bit different today. I was really inspired about 2 weeks ago to share with you my journey of journaling. I've been journaling for quite a while, and I knew that this was a video that I wanted to upload, a topic that I wanted to talk about. And I think about, just around the same time I was thinking about doing this video, because I'm always jotting down ideas for things that I want to speak about on my YouTube channel. Around that time, I ran across a video by Dionne Deans, and I mentioned her in a previous video, and I mentioned this in the previous video, that it was confirmation when I watched her video and she mentioned that she journals to kind of keep balance in her life. So I am going to share my thoughts on journaling and tips maybe that will encourage others to maybe want to start journaling if they don't, and maybe do journaling on a more consistent basis, because I think a lot of times people journal but they don't do it consistently. So I'm hoping that this video will encourage you in that way. I also want to link Dionne Deans' video that kind of solidified me doing this video in the description box below, so you can check her out and hear her thoughts on it as well. So I've been jotting down my thoughts and ideas. I'm a very expressive person, very creative type person, and I'm a very emotional and sensitive individual. So writing really kind of helps me to get things that are inside out. It kind of goes hand in hand with visual art and me painting as well. I also love music. So I think there's a lot within me that I want to bring out in a creative way, and journaling is just one of those ways. So hello to all my fellow journalers, people who journal, and for those of you who don't and maybe are thinking about it, keep watching. So in school, writing was one of the things that I enjoyed doing. I remember specifically in high school, one of my ELA teachers really told me that, you're a decent writer, and encouraged me to do more writing. And so that was kind of like the boost that I needed, even though I had been doing it all along. I don't do stories per se, like short stories or anything like that, more just my thoughts. And so basically I would use spiral notebooks or compositional books that you can get from Walmart or anything like that. But as I got more mature and older, I started gravitating towards actual journals. So right here are just a collection of some of the journals that I have kept over my adult years, within the last, say, 10 years that I have been collecting books. So I like to go to bookstores. I remember when Barnes & Noble was my guilty pleasure, going there, or Books A Million, and they had a lot of journals, and so I would collect them just based on the style and the artistic look of it. And so I started getting journals that way, the hardback kind. Something I like about the hardback. And this journal like here has the little elastic that keeps it closed. I got this at Walmart, and these are good journals to use as well. When I travel, I also like to get journals, and I think it's good to collect various things from your travels, and journals are one of those things that I collect when I travel. So I just have, like I say, a lot of hardback bound journals, and some journals have been gifted to me, because once people find out that you like to journal, those are some of the things that they might gift to you. So I've gotten a few journals as gifts. Like this one was a gift from a friend this past Christmas, which I really, really like. But I digress. So just starting out, journal in whatever you can. A spiral notebook, compositional notebook is fine. But when you get more into it, you kind of want to upgrade and, be a little more creative with what you journal in. Now, I do want to go over some tips that I jotted down for this video as far as my thoughts on journaling. And so I use my journal for things like that as well. Journal is really good for releasing things that you have inside of you that you don't want to keep in. And a lot of times you don't want to talk to other people. A lot of times some things are personal, and it's just for your benefit, things that you want to get out. So it's good for releasing. And my definition for the purpose of journaling is for communicating your ideas and thoughts for the purpose of reflecting, progressing, growing, healing, and bringing the internal outward. So just, like I said, for a cleansing even in that sense. And journaling helps us to meet our goals. It helps us to see the bigger picture. It helps bring things that are unclear more into focus. So those are my thoughts on journaling and what it does for me and how it has helped me over the years. Typically when I journal, you might ask, how do you start your entry? What do you say? Well, to be honest with you, most of the times I am talking to God. Jesus is my best friend. He's the one who's always there. He's never let me down, though I've let him down. And so that's usually who I talk to. I'll usually say, Dear God, and then kind of go on into my thoughts and express them to him as though we're having a conversation. And I usually end it with love Audrey, sincerely Audrey, or whatever I'm feeling at that moment, because it truly does vary, entry to entry based on how I am feeling at that moment. And the benefits that I have found for journaling, number one, it helps me to pour out my heart so that I can move on. It helps me to progress so that I can move from something. Something's bogging me down or weighing me down. Getting it out with a pen helps me to move on and progress. Number two, journaling helps me to see the vision of where I want to go a little bit better. I'll write down my ideas and thoughts on where I see myself going. And as I'm writing, something begins to happen. Things become a little bit clearer and more into focus. So it just helps to bring things into focus and make things a little bit clearer about my future and what I want to do with my future. Another thing is it helps me to reflect on my past mistakes. It's like a learning tool. I write down the things that I felt like I could have done better. Maybe this could have been different. And as I'm writing those things down, I'm reflecting. And it's helping me to become, I feel, a better individual, a better me. Number four, another thing that I like about journaling, it's a great encourager and motivator for when you're ahead in the future and maybe you've hit a lull or down, a spot in your life or your journey. You can go back, read those entries you wrote, and it's something about seeing, wow, I recovered from that situation, or I've advanced from that situation, and it has helped, me to just be encouraged in a sense, because I'm like, wow, look at what all God has brought me through. I remember that difficult time. Or it's even can be where you're reflecting on a fun time in a moment, and that is encouraging, like a trip that you took and maybe a revelation that you got while you were on that trip and you forgot about it. It didn't register in your mind, but when you read your journal, you're like, yes, and that, gives you joy and enlightens you, and, it's just really therapeutic, just to say the least. So those are the benefits that I see from journaling. Go out there, start journaling, writing down your thoughts. I would say start out and doing it weekly. You don't have to do it every day. You don't want it to become a task or burdensome. Or maybe just invest in saying, I'm going to journal anytime that I feel like I've gotten a revelation or something, wise that was said to me, or a circumstance that happened to you and you just want to jot it down. Kind of go from there. So start with circumstances, stories, revelations, maybe even dreams. I've had dreams where something's come to me and I wake up and I'm like, I've got to write that down. So I do keep a journal next to my bed, which brings me into the next part of this video. Where should you journal? Wherever is comfortable for you is where you should journal. I journal in my bed. Like I said, I keep a journal next to me on the nightstand, and right before I go to bed, I journal. Or sometimes I'm inspired to want to go out in nature, and I'll take my journal and my pen, and I'll just sit out in nature and journal in nature. Sometimes I journal in a more, I guess professional setting, like in my studio, where I feel like I really want to get something accomplished, and I'll journal there, and then I can go about doing what I have intended on doing for the day. So basically, whatever spot is comfortable for you is where you should journal, and how often you should journal is up to you as well. Maybe it's weekly, maybe it's daily, maybe it's just when that big thing has happened to you. But whatever it may be, I encourage you to do it because it's so good for your well-being, and it brings balance, it brings enlightenment. It's just a great way to express yourself. So those are my tips on journaling. Go ahead, get started, don't wait, and I'll see you next time. And remember to be a good steward of all that God has given you, because He truly loves us so much. And remember, your mind is something that God has given you, so let's be a good steward over that. Mental health is very important. Take care. Bye.